Welcome to Bolder Truths, Bold Woman of the Week. I have Abigail Eberhart with me, who just won Mrs. Florida America literally a few days ago. And I had the pleasure of watching you in the pageant, and it was such a wonderful weekend and experience. And I'm sure you're over the moon. But I will leave the floor to you. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, hi Taylor. Oh gosh, yes. They say, the sparkle starts to settle and
Uh-huh.
you start to really feel the implications of your crown. And I'm really feeling that now. But it was a wonderful weekend, just a room full of women who are in their communities, so inspirational and really just changing lives. So it was an honor to compete with the women I competed with. But thank you. I know I'm so excited to be on the show. A little bit about me. I live in Florida, originally born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. I went to
Oh, cool.
Georgetown. I studied international relations. I was fortunate enough to live in over 10 countries working on international development projects. So my passion is really disaster relief and recovery because
Mhm.
of something that happened to me when I was very young, but also because of the projects I've continued to work on in my adult years. But, a long time ago in 2005, Hurricane Katrina came to New Orleans, and my family and I were actually stuck in floodwaters. And so we had to tread water, we had to survive. And it kind of stuck with me all throughout, my teenage years and adulthood. And I dedicated my life to water safety and disaster recovery. And water safety really is part of disaster preparation. And so it kind of all ties in together. And I'm so lucky now that I actually work for a small municipality that's recovering from a serious natural disaster that happened in Southwest Florida. So I have the privilege of doing that in my day-to-day life and in pageantry.
I love that when your passions connect into your career and
Yes,
just like it just comes full circle, right? It just becomes your life.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I can imagine you never would have thought that you would go through something like that at such a young age as well.
It's funny, when you do pageantry, for anyone that's watching, there's a really large component of it that's interview, and you're asked questions and people ask you to talk about yourself, kind of like now.
Mhm.
And the question I kept getting about that moment were you scared? And the truth is I wasn't scared. I remember treading water. I remember the water rising. I remember watching my dad, grab our hands and try and get us up the stairs. But I wasn't scared. And I think it's because my parents, were such great leaders in that moment, and they were so calm, and they believed in me and my brother's ability to tread water and to do the right thing and to listen. And so I think the lack of fear kind of comes from empowerment. And that's really what I'm trying to do, working with children, working with the American Red Cross, communicating as a public information officer for the municipality I work for. I'm trying to get people to feel secure and empowered in their abilities so that when they are in a crisis, they're calm. We've
Yeah.
all been in a crisis before. Maybe it's big or small. We missed our flight, our luggage is lost, right? We have a flat tire. And the first thing we want to do is freak out. The first thing we want to do, right, is get upset. But that's the worst thing to do. So if you can train for calm, then you can train to be successful in those moments and overcome any adversity.
I think that that is absolutely incredible because so true. It's all about how you treat a moment as you're going through it. And if your
Mm,
first instinct is to panic, it's going to be very hard to come out of whatever you're coming out of. So if you
absolutely.
are able to take a deep breath, trust your instincts, trust what you know and your knowledge, and just use that, like you said, I think that's the best way to overcome whatever you're going through in that specific moment where you want to panic. But
Yes. And adversity it's subjective, right? Like while Hurricane Katrina was a big deal for me, something that's small may be a really big deal for someone else, and it may not be very small at all. And
Mhm.
so I like to say that, every moment matters, every crisis is a crisis, but we train for it the same way.
Mhm. That's insane. I love that. So, I saw some of the videos you've been posting, by the way,
Oh,
and
good.
something that I learned recently, my nephew is 4 now. I was going to say 3, but he just turned 4. And I was actually buying him a bathing suit last year, right? And
Yeah.
the reason I bring this up is because you posted a video the other day, I don't remember, I think it was 2 days ago, about swimsuits in water and visibility. And I had purchased a swim. He loves Spider-Man, so I had purchased like a bluish swimsuit, and then I had to think about it, and I ended up having to ask my brother because I was like, wow, I didn't even think about. I think I saw a video after that on TikTok that made me think about it, and I love that you're sharing it because normally swimsuits, they're such cute swimsuits for kids in stores, and they're always blues or greens or colors that, as your video was saying,
Yeah.
at the bottom, you don't see it. The visibility isn't there either.
Well, yeah, and right under the surface of the water. So
Hmm.
the American Red Cross has done a lot of color tests with different swimsuits, and they've simulated wave action, like at the beach or just an inch of water in the pool. And beyond an inch of water, you cannot see the color spectrum of blue, purple, green,
Hmm.
yellow, and I think, and there's one more, and like a light pink. You
Hmm.
can't see it at all. So if you were to be submerged in water in any of those swimsuit colors, no one would see you. No one would see you at the bottom. No one would see you close to the surface. So no one would know to come and save you. So always lean towards like an orange, a red. That's why lifeguard swimsuits are red because you can see them
Makes
at the
sense.
bottom of the pool, at the top of the pool. It gives you maximum visibility.
Hmm.
Just a couple of days ago, so with my job, it's my job to report what's going on. Sorry, my dogs are barking.
I don't
What's
hear them,
going
so you're
on with
good.
with what's going on the beach that I work for. And we had a call come in to the fire station and to the police station, and a person went missing in the water.
Mm.
And they had heard them calling for help. They were in the waves. It was really rough outside. And they were asking them, they said, what were they wearing? And they said he was in a blue swimsuit. And so they had to deploy the Coast Guard because this then became a search and rescue mission. And they didn't find him. So now it's a recovery mission and they're pretty much waiting for his body to wash up. So
Hmm.
it's so, so important when you're at the beach to wear red, wear orange, be visible.
Hmm.
Don't go out when it's super rough, even if you think you're a great swimmer, because water is so powerful.
And yellow is really surprising to me, by the way, because you would think yellow is a loud color, right? But it makes sense that
Right,
when it's underwater, it just refracts differently. And so I'm
right.
really surprised about the yellow because I did not know about the yellow. So see, you learn like it's just you learn something new, and having these conversations and all of the work that you're doing, I think is so important because it's just that little tidbit of information that can truly save a life
Absolutely.
ultimately at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So I have some questions going off of the Boulder
Ooh.
Truth stuff that I thought would be fun. Um,
Yes.
so I I have them over here. Okay, so okay, we'll go with this one. What is one part of your story that people don't see but has shaped you the most?
Yes. So, and it kind of ties into what led me to pageantry. But my husband and I, my amazing husband Dan and I, have been married for 4 years. And we have, from day one, just had the toughest infertility journey. It's just been this awful combination of miscarriages and IVF treatments. And we just so desperately want a family. And it's just been a challenge. So it's difficult as a woman because you are told that women are supposed to be and do and look a certain way and be mothers and be career women, and we're supposed to be everything these days. And my body just didn't want me to do the thing that is supposed to be one of the easiest things, right? Getting pregnant and making life. And I just felt so not womanly. I felt like I had lost all my feminine energy. I felt like I had lost all my beauty.
Mhm.
And I had really hit rock bottom a couple of months ago. And I just didn't know how I was going to continue. I was having thoughts like, I don't even know if I want to be on this earth if I can't be a mother, if I can't nurture, because I just have such a desire to do so. And
Mhm.
it leaves scars. You walk into a room and you see women with children and you just feel less than. And, I work with children. And so it got really hard to even be around any child because I just felt so inferior. So
Mhm.
I think that's just become part of me now, that journey. And, when I hit rock bottom, I was like, I've got to pick myself up. I have got to be the woman that I know that I am. I have to fulfill this person that I've always known myself to be, that little Abigail looks up to. I have to be her. And so I started this journey of pageantry, which really is a journey of self-improvement. It's a journey of self-reflection, of understanding who you are and what you have to give to this world.
Mhm.
And so it's really starting to shape me, and I feel like I've really come out of that dark place and into a new light.
I'm speechless because I had no idea. It just goes to show you that we don't know what another person is going through. You know,
Right.
a lot of the times we put a smile on our face and we get up and we go through about our day and we build our careers or we do our things, but deep down inside we're going through hardships that no one ever knows about.
Yeah.
And I've been through what you've been through as well. And it's actually one of the reasons that I did Mrs. Tennessee also.
Oh, I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
actually didn't know that. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
know
know. I
that.
literally got chills when you were talking. So,
Oh, yeah.
like, and you hit the nail on the head about it because it's a self-improvement. It's a journey of, there's just so many emotions involved. We've experienced infertility, Evan and I, for the last 10 years.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
and so we've been through 3 rounds of IVF as well, through full rounds of IVF,
Oh
which
my,
is
no, it's
medical
awful.
torture, you know,
Yes.
and there's so much that goes into infertility and having miscarriages and like you said, the way you feel inferior or navigating just normal everyday life also
Right.
when you have friends with children or friends that are getting pregnant or for example my sister-in-law having 2 babies when I'm
Right.
struggling myself and I think we don't talk about it enough because we think that it makes us as women look like you said, that was perfect point, is not like a woman or inferior or this or that. But what I've realized is that's the lies that we tell ourselves because of what we're going through at the time. And I'm so happy that you did the pageant because it's literally like we're like have the same story as far as
I,
that goes. It's just about bringing attention to it and showing that women we can do things for ourselves and we can do things that will make us feel better and be a self-improvement journey. So I I'm just speechless that you shared that. I can't believe that I, I think there's a reason we met, I
I
guess.
think so too. No, and you, I mean, I gravitated towards you, right off the bat at the pageant because you were just such a light. Some people you meet, they just emanate this sort of purity
Mhm,
and goodness. And we've all met people that don't emanate that, right? And we immediately feel kind of like, oh, who is this person? But you just emanated such light. So thank you for sharing that. It really is tough. And I'm not gonna lie, I work with a pageant coach. She's absolutely amazing. Her name is Janice Ward. And it took a couple of sessions for her to get that out of me because
mhm,
I was prepping for the pageant and I was talking about like water safety and treading water and she was like, "Okay, yeah, that's great. That happened when you were younger and it motivated you to do what you do, but why are you here right now?"
mhm,
Right? And I was like, "Oh, because I want to do the pageant." And she was like, "No, there's something beneath the surface here." And it took time for her to really unpack like
mhm,
I was feeling less than. I
mhm,
was feeling like I wasn't enough. And I kept bringing up different things. Well, what if this isn't good enough? Well, what if this isn't good enough? What if the dress isn't good enough? What if how I say that thing about water safety? What if I don't say it right? She's like, where is all this self-doubt coming from?
mhm,
Right? She's like, you do not seem like a person that was born with self-doubt. It seems like you are a very confident person. And
mhm,
I finally was like, well, it's just, I just can't be a mom.
mhm,
I can't be a mom. And she's like, that does not make you less than. And
mhm,
you need to remember that. And I'm still having to remember that every day when I wake up,
mhm,
putting on my makeup, putting on my heels, thinking about, because they say that when you get dressed in the morning, a woman gets dressed, deciding who she wants to be that day, not just deciding
mhm,
what she wants to wear.
mhm,
And we think about how we're going to be perceived in whatever we wear. And for me, for a while, I was like, oh, well, I'm not a mom. So how am I even going to dress at this age? Because, a 31-year-old woman should be a mom. So she should be dressing a certain way. She should be driving a certain vehicle. And it
mhm,
started to really mess with my identity, in the day to day, like you said. So it's been a journey to reclaim and
mhm,
believe in myself again and believe that I'm enough. We're enough.
mhm.
You don't need this label to be.
1000%. And going off of that, something that I've learned as well that it's just directly in line with every single thing that you've said is that I always thought, we have to fit in this like box or this
Right.
thing. We get married, we have children, we become moms, we do this, and that's how life, is linear and goes. And being thrown this random thing that I've experienced and you've experienced of infertility that probably neither you or nor I would ever have expected to
Right.
go through, it does. It makes you rethink of, okay, what's my identity? Who am I? Who do I want to be? And wait a minute, I don't have to conform to what society tells me I need to be. I can be successful. I can be happy. I can navigate life and not do it in a linear fashion that society
Right.
has created for us too.
Absolutely.
So I love that you said all of that because it's literally like I feel like you're talking like to me directly. I can't
Well,
tell you.
and you understand it, and it's difficult to share.
Hmm.
Even like with my mom, my mom had three beautiful kids, never had any trouble. And so sometimes when I'm talking to her, she doesn't understand how painful it is.
Hmm.
Questioning your identity, questioning where you fit into that linear growth equation that we all try and put ourselves in, like you said. So sometimes the people closest to you don't get it, and that makes you turn even more inward. So being able to share it with someone is honestly, it's therapeutic. It's helpful.
I think that's the reason why I wanted to create the platform too, is just you have these conversations that randomly turn into stories you would have never expected, right? So going into this interview, I thought we would mainly talk about water safety and the things that you're doing, and now it's morphed into an entirely different conversation,
Right. Yeah.
which I just love it, and it's just so amazing because I think that it will hit home for a lot of girls too, that I mean, infertility is a growing problem
It really is. Yeah.
and having those conversations and talking about the things that you've experienced. While we look great on the outside, we look like we have it together with our crowns on and competing for pageants and stuff like that. It's
Right.
just it's there's so much more to it.
Yeah. And I think for me, going through the IVF process, especially, you have these doctors and you're very like objective focused, right? So you're like, I want to get pregnant. And so everyone is very focused on that objective. No one is focused on the small, like minor shifts in you as a person that happen to get to that objective. So you're doing these injections, you're going in for these appointments. I mean, just the appointments alone to get to the place where you're doing the injections, right? They're doing the checkups, they're telling you everything that's wrong with you
Mhm.
effectively, right? To get to that place. And I remember asking questions like, well, how is this going to affect, my brain power, right? Because I'm very logical and I do a lot of writing. And if I suffer brain fogginess, I kind of need to know going in. And I was like,
Right.
how is this going to affect this? Well, how is it going to affect my weight? Well, how is it going to affect my skin? And they make you feel kind of shallow for asking those questions. And it's like, no, this is part of who I am. And if I don't want to look a certain way, or if I want to know that I'm going to gain weight, I have a right to know that about my health. And
Mhm.
so you end up really having to be your own patient advocate on this mission to have a baby because they're objective focused. They're not you focused. And I think it's just how the fertility industry is, unfortunately. But I remember coming out of it, I had gained 15 pounds because of the injection the last injection that you take that for the extraction of the eggs. I
Mhm.
had gained weight, my skin, and my hair was
Oh.
falling out. I
Mhm.
had acne on my chin. And I remember going into the office and I was like, I'm ugly, right? Like, and and of course I wasn't ugly, but I was not feeling beautiful. And I
Right.
was having all of these changes happen. And they were like, yeah, but you want a baby. And I was like, okay, you're right. I do. I want a baby. So I have to suffer through these things. But that didn't change the fact that when I looked in the mirror, I felt not like myself. I didn't feel beautiful, coupled with the fact that I wasn't achieving this objective of being a mother. And
Mhm.
so I just think we also need to like keep in mind it's not shallow that you want to be beautiful. It's not shallow that you want to maintain your beauty and be a mother. And it's not shallow for you to be sad that you lost that in that process.
Oh, it's so true. Because I experienced exactly that. I mean, the meds that they put me on, and I
Right.
was so objective focused, like you said, that we did round after round after round, and
Hmm.
and we just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And then
Right.
I remember looking in the mirror one day and I had gained like 60 pounds, like something
Oh
crazy,
my gosh.
60
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even just the weight gain, it was the way I felt. Like my
Right.
knees were hurting from the
Yes.
weight gain. My skin, like you said, my skin was
Right.
a mess, my hair was a mess. I just felt like the best way I could describe it to somebody who hasn't been through it is I felt like this robot going and they were just like doing tests on me left
Yes.
and right.
Yes.
And you kind of like I became what I felt like was a shell of a person,
Yeah.
just doing what I had to do based on the protocol and
Right.
running to the doctor and this and this and that. And then you look back and it had been like 4 or 5 years of going through that. And I'm like, I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't even look like myself because I had felt like I destroyed my body from all of the different hormones they put me on. I don't
Right.
feel like myself. And it took it took about probably 2 or 3 years. I think my last miscarriage was 2023. So it took me, I'm just starting to feel like myself again now.
Yeah.
And they don't tell you that. They don't prepare you for the long-term effects either of
Hmm.
mental health, one, and then just getting your body healthy again because you're putting it through so many changes and so much trauma. I mean, let's be honest, they're harvesting 10 eggs at a time or whatever it
Yes.
is when you're really only supposed to be harvesting one a month.
Right.
So
Right.
the effects are just crazy that they don't prepare you for at all.
No, they really don't. And they don't prepare your spouse either. I mean, my husband came up with a very
Mhm.
gracious nickname for me. He called me Ogre Gail because the injections made me
I can hear
just
you.
so, right, the hormonal fluctuations, what you're dealing with, it changes your personality.
Oh yeah.
And, it's like, yeah, I mean, you don't feel like the person you are because like we know we're badass women. We know
Mhm.
we're awesome. We know we show up for others, but
Mhm.
it is so hard to be that woman when you don't believe in yourself.
Mhm. I'm so glad that you did the pageant, seriously, because I
Oh,
think that women like you and I think are so needed, especially in Mrs. Pageantry,
thank you.
because I think in the past that Mrs. Pageantry has been mainly women with children, and that's
Mhm.
totally okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm
Right.
not trying to bash that by any means, but I do think that we represent a different kind of woman
Yes.
and a modern woman that is navigating through this. I was doing some research on infertility yesterday, and it's up to 50% of pregnancies end in miscarriage, whether they're known pregnancies or not, which is a huge number, which
Yeah.
is crazy to me. And 30% of women that are, it was like 29.4. I gotta look. It was like 29.4% of women that are married do not have kids. So I think you and I represent a large portion of women that are underrepresented right now, I feel like, just in life in
Yes.
general.
I think that's right. And
Mhm.
especially, like the more I joined the pageant world a month and a half ago, 2 months ago
Mhm.
now.
I
And so
know.
it's so new.
You were like breaking records, by the way. Amazing.
But you look at these different systems, and pageantry right now is going through this incredible shift
Mhm.
because we have the Miss USA pageant, which is in, litigation, and they're having some major back office issues. And so the pageant's taken on kind of a new face. They're no longer doing pageants, they're doing open calls, and it's very social media and how you present yourself online heavy, not necessarily who you are as a person. So we have that going on with Miss USA. And then we have Mrs. International, which is a smaller pageant system, very platform focused, not very you focused. It's more about how you're going to show up in your community and how effective, right? Your efficacy of your platform. And then
Mhm.
you have the Mrs. system. And this is kind of it as far as like large pageants go. And none of those boxes are us,
Mhm.
right? Like you said, the Mrs. system is women with children. The median age is about 38, 40 years old. They
Mhm.
have companies, they have families, and they're working moms.
Mhm.
There is not this demographic, which, like you said, is an emerging demographic of 30 to 35-year-old women who haven't had kids yet for, maybe it's choice, maybe it's infertility, maybe it's, maybe lack of marriage, whatever it is, who are successful, who are newly engaged or getting married, who are showing up in their communities. They have a platform, they have incredible careers,
Mhm.
right? They're change makers. They're force multipliers. They don't have a pageant to represent them. So, we kind of have a choice. Do we fit ourselves into one of these boxes, or do we go into a pageant and change the paradigm, right? Do we shift what this pageant could be and who it could represent year after year? So I
Yeah.
think we have a wonderful opportunity going into nationals to say, hey, we exist too. There's a lot of us actually, and we want to market this pageant to people like us. We want to open the pageant system to women like us so that the world can see that women like us exist.
Absolutely. And I think it's an ode to like women don't have to be pigeonholed into living a certain lifestyle, that we are all different and each of us go through different hardships in our life or different things, and we want to live different lives. And I think respecting that and honoring that is part of it, that
Yes.
it's okay to be different. That I mean, I embrace that. I actually, so something really cool, a little project that I've started is I'm trying to start like a little cookbook of different cultures. And and
Oh,
like getting family recipes from people of different backgrounds,
I love
because
that.
I just love different cultures. I love learning about other people. And I think it's an ode to that, is respecting differences in people, because how boring would it be if we were all the same, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Well, I have a recipe for you. So I'm from New Orleans and my family is French Creole. So we have some good
Ooh,
deep South New Orleans recipes I could give you.
I would absolutely love that because I have nothing like that right now. So
Ooh,
that would be
okay.
fabulous.
Yes. It's don't eat too much of it. You will gain weight, but it is delicious. You will
Is
enjoy
it
it in the
spicy? Is it
moment.
spicy?
A little bit spicy,
Okay.
yeah. You have some of that like Cajun, Tony
Ooh, I,
Chachere's is what it's
ooh.
called, but it's so good.
I've never been to New Orleans, but it's definitely on my bucket list to go
Oh,
to.
well, you got to go and you got to come with me, and we have to go during carnival season because it's glitz, it's glam, but it's also the fun craziness that New Orleans is. It's a great, great city. I'm very lucky to be from there.
Do you still have family that live there?
I do. They're all there. I'm like kind of
Wow.
the only one that went away. So, yeah, any chance I get to go back, I go back and I get to see everyone. I miss them so much.
It's hard living apart from family. I'm originally from New York, as we kind of
Okay.
discussed very
Yes.
quickly.
Yes.
And I moved to Delaware first. I went to school in Delaware and then I ended up in Knoxville. And I've been in Knoxville for 10 years. But being away from family is hard. And my parents ultimately finally followed me down like 3, 4 years ago.
Really?
And yeah.
Wow.
But it's being away from family is very difficult. And I think it's important to find the time to visit. And then you go back home. Now that my family has come down here, my parents, I really don't have a reason to go back home anymore.
Oh, yeah, true.
So I need to make it a point to actually go now, just on my own, not just to visit them, because I do miss home.
Yeah. And you see, when I go back home, I always say that like whenever I'm in my parents' house, I regress to the teenager that I was. For some reason, I become this like angsty teen. I'm like, no, mom, I don't want to take out the trash.
I love
You
that.
become like your young self again. It keeps me
Yeah.
young. But I see all these places and, art in museums where I look at everything through a different lens and I'm like, oh, that wasn't that big of a deal. Or, God, that wasn't that scary. Memories you have of being in high school and thinking about, this happened in this place. Or I remember I was in high school and my gosh, the only time I ever got in trouble, I was like a perfect student. I never went out and I snuck out of the house. I told my mom I was babysitting for someone and she caught it like immediately. And I was going to this like party in the park and it was going to be a rave. I literally think it was going to be one DJ and a bunch of glow sticks. And my mom caught me on the way there. And I remember I was crying. I was punished for weeks. And I went home a couple of months ago and I drove by that spot where the party was supposed to be. And I was like, oh my gosh. I thought I was such a bad kid for doing that, but it wasn't that big of a deal. New lens on that.
Right? It's so funny, like the things that you go through, and like as you get older, you're like, wow.
That was not that big of a deal.
I love it so much.
Yes.
Okay, so we only have 5 minutes left.
Oh
So
my God, that went by
I know
quick.
it goes by so fast. It's like crazy. And this totally took a turn that I didn't expect. And
Yeah.
I just want to say I'm very grateful for you sharing your story, because it hits home for me, but also I think it's going to make a huge difference in a lot of people that watch it.
Well, thank you for
So
sharing yours. I mean, we did not know that we had
yeah,
this overlap. So this
no
is
idea. That's
godsend.
why I love this. Like, and this is why I love pageants, because you just find out things and you just create connections that just you would never have before.
Absolutely.
But I guess so my last question to wrap it up
Yes.
would be, so what would you consider your bold her truth to be? And what do you want every woman that's listening to our episode to take away from your story?
There is no one way to do womanhood. There is no one way to be. And who you are and what you are now is enough. And you don't even have to believe it to show up as her. Just show up because you are enough and
Yeah,
others see you as enough.
I love that. I love that so much. And us doing the pageant as part of that, I think it shows it, right? Sometimes all it takes is committing to something like personal growth and having
Yeah.
a goal that gets you past some of the things that you're going through. And then you might, I mean, for me, I look back, like I was reflecting yesterday and I'm like, I can't even believe where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because I said yes to something and like you said, I woke up and I just kept pushing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you know, it's funny. I was talking to Tiffany Thornton 2 days ago. She's
Oh, she's
Mrs.
amazing.
American, who's
Yeah.
amazing. If you guys ever have a chance, go look at her social media. And she was talking about how pageantry pulled her out of something,
Mm,
a really dark place. And if you are in a dark place right now and you do not know how you are going to set benchmarkers to be the woman that you know you are, take a look at pageantry because
mhm,
it holds you accountable. Even
mhm.
when you're not feeling like you want to be accountable, it makes you show up for yourself in ways that you did not know you could. So the little plug for pageantry there, because
Yeah.
I'm a convert, I'm a believer. I think all women should be able to showcase their inner beauty and outer beauty,
Yes, I literally love that so much because a lot of people don't understand why we do it. And
right?
I mean, that's it. That wraps it up literally as like the perfect
Oh,
ending.
Taylor, this was great. Thank
So
you.
thank you so much. I'm gonna post your information if you're good with that when I post the
Of
videos so that
course.
people can also follow you and your journey and all of the amazing work that you're doing
Thank
for
you.
disaster relief. So that way we can get the word out for your platform as well.
Thank you so much. Yes, follow me along. My Instagram is at Mrs. Paradise Coast. That's where I live. That's what I represented. And we are gonna be at nationals soon, Taylor. So we'll
Yes.
probably be doing some content together. Hopefully we'll be roommates.
Absolutely. Lots to do, but we're gonna have like the best time. I can't wait.
Yes, yes. All right, girl. Thank you
All
so
right.
much for having me on.
Thank you. See ya.
Thank you. Bye-bye.